Hello, my dear students. Today we are going to do the chapter 1.8 Voyaging Towards Excellence, written by Achyut Godbole. Achyut Godbole is a well known writer in Marathi and English. He is a chemical engineer from IIT Mumbai and has also headed top management companies of repute. This chapter is an autobiographical sketch penned by Achyut himself. It depicts his journey from a middle class boy to that of becoming a successful writer. Now let's look at the title, Voyaging Towards Excellence. What does voyaging mean? Voyage is actually a long journey, especially a journey or a travel by sea or space. And excellence. Why do we need to strive for excellence? Because the reason is when we strive for excellence, we set certain high standards. And high standards can encourage us to make improvements, to solve problems, and to do quality work. And you know that when a work is well done, you derive a sense of satisfaction. And also you learn from your mistakes. Okay, now let's try to understand the author's point of view. He is giving us certain mantras how one can become successful in life. I am referring to page 78 of the textbook, Voyaging Towards Excellence. See, the author begins by saying that he belongs to a very typical middle class family, okay, and having a very simple upbringing. I had a very simple upbringing, and we were a lower. We are not even a middle class, but even lower than that, because you see, they have a very small house, 300 square feet house, and they don't have even the basic amenities. Just like a fan, a refrigerator, geyser, dining table, gas stove, these are supposed to be items of luxury. So they don't have even these basic facilities or amenities in their house. So you can forget about the fact to have an AC or a car. That's way too beyond to think of. Then he says when he got into college, he got a watch, and then they got a dining table, a gas stove at home. But then one thing which he says very important is, see, nevertheless, culturally, I had a rich childhood. Now, what does he mean by rich childhood? Richness now he doesn't refer to being money. Okay, we know that he belonged to a middle class family. So, it is very obvious that he did not have a lot of money. But then how was he rich? Now, the richness depends on the kind of association, the kind of people you have in your life. That is the richness that he is talking of. See, there are certain people who used to visit his house. They were poets like Vinda Karandikar, Mangesh Padgaonkar, and Vasant Bapat. They used to visit our home, and for hours I would listen to their discussions about poetry and literature. So that's why he says, he was very lucky enough to, have these kind of associations with such well-known people, scholars, writers, poets coming to his house, and they having a healthy discussion about literature and arts. They used to talk about Keshav Sood, Mardekar, Shakespeare, Charles Dickens, Thomas Hardy. These are the writers of different eras. And but then he tells very frankly, being a child, he did not understand the discussions in depth. He listened to it. See, you don't, although you might not understand, but then when you hear it frequently, you try to understand in bits and pieces, and then slowly, steadily develop an interest into it. He had some wonderful musicians coming to his home, okay, like Pandit Kumar Gandharva, Pandit Bhimsen Joshi, and Pandit Jasraj visit our place and talk about Indian music late night and sometimes dawn. And this is what he says, this is how he developed interest in arts and music. And he says, I did not even today don't understand the grammar, Okay, for music you would say the saregama, the tal or the sur. He had no idea about it, but still he enjoyed listening to their discussions, enjoying the music, and he began to love it tremendously, extremely, to a very great limit extent. Most of the times the topics of discussions at our home were about music, literature, painting, sculptures, etc. So he has quoted a few people here. Van Gogh, he is a Dutch painter. Mozart, who is an Austrian composer. Michelangelo, he is an Italian sculptor. Okay, so he was very lucky to have grown in such a surrounding where it's so enriching. He says, it is because of such a milieu meaning the surrounding, the environment in which he grew. I had a firm belief, which I still hold, that all arts are equal, whether it is music, whether it is dance, it is painting, sculpting, anything. All these forms of arts are placed on an equal pedestal, on an equal level. And he says, if not more important in our lives than science or technology. Science and technology is equally important. Also equally important is arts and literature. So it's not anything secondary, but it is placed on a same equal level. I had learned from my childhood that money does not mean everything. There are many people who says money is everything in life, but he understood the most important value of life is that money, yes, money is something, but it is not everything. It is necessary, but if at all there is something which enriches, which enhances, okay, which improves our life and puts a meaning, for everything in our life there should be meaning to it, okay, meaning to an existence, a purpose to it. If you find that, then your life is meaningful. So how does your life become meaningful? With all these arts, music, literature is all going to make your life wonderful. It is going to enrich your life. Now, since the author says that he had found great interest in arts, okay, that doesn't mean that science and maths was left behind. He says, this is not to say that I did not like science or maths, but he loved these subjects as well. And he says, I did not study them for scoring maximum marks. Okay, I used to study these subjects, or any subject for that matter, for its inherent beauty. Everything has a beauty in itself. If you think about it, if you look at it deeply, you will realize, you will enjoy it. Okay, so that's what he enjoyed, learning these subjects. Okay, so whether it is the Newton's law of motion, he says it was beautiful. Then the Pythagoras theorem, he says it was elegant. Elegant meaning graceful. So he has used such beautiful terms to describe these subjects. I loved solving problems of physics and maths in 9th standard, and when I was in 7th, not to show off, but just because I used to get involved in solving them, I used to love problem solving and used to enjoy finding out the most elegant method of solving them. So this is like an interest. If you don't have an interest, no matter hard you try, you are not going to enjoy it. So first thing, you have to have a liking for it, and then you work for, to strive to achieve excellence in that. So arts, music plus maths and science, he developed interest in that. He started solving problems, finding out various ways of doing it. Also he used to do the maths sums which were not included in the curriculum, which was not described in the or prescribed in the syllabus. But what he says is, you have to enjoy the whole process. The outcome, the ultimate result is absolutely necessary, but what is more important is the process, the journey which is involved in that. This attitude of looking beyond marks or exams and to seek joy in solving and any challenging problem helped me to develop a problem solving attitude. So he was one of the kind who would say, never give up attitude. Try to find out ways. If this doesn't work, the other way should work. Okay. So problem solving attitude should be there in each one of us. Okay, so take it as a challenge and then try to find answers to your problems. Okay, when I appeared for IIT entrance JEE, because this exam is completely based on your problem solving ability and the ability to think not only logically but quickly and rapidly. So this is what is required. Logical explanation is required, but more than that you have to be very quick and rapid. Fast. There is no time. You have to finish your exam in the given time limit. So your brain has to work so fast, so quick. And definitely this fellow was a genius. He could achieve, he was ready for it, and he enjoyed the process. That is what made him successful. And he says he scored 100% marks in maths. Wow, that's a wonderful achievement. And I appeared for my first standard till IIT, barring only a few times. I stood 16th in the SSC board. Again, this is one of his wonderful achievements. SSC boards, and that time he says it was the whole of the Maharashtra. Here now we consider the Mumbai or the Pune division, including Nagpur. Then he stood first in the university. And then those days you could get an admission into IIT. So those days the competition was less. So he says he could get easily into it without the entrance exam. If you had secured first rank in the university, there was no need to give an entrance exam even, because he had stood first in the university. Therefore, I did not have to appear for entrance test to get the admission into IIT. And he belonged to a small town, Solapur. So there he hardly anybody is aware of the fact that such an exam had to be given over there. But then still he gave the IIT exam, and he says, proudly he says, I secured a very good rank in the same. So you see, he's a studious, he's a meticulous student, and achieving, passing all his exams one after the other. Okay, so we shall continue this chapter in the next video lecture. Thank you.